Hi. Okay, whole bunch of stuff to catch up on. Let's start with this. So I was getting white paint ready and sort of at random, because this one was in the room waiting, the Doria X, I decided, and I had cleaned it up, washed it off from all of its dust, given it a light sanding in various glue areas. So I managed to get the white done on that. And then I did a bunch of research on this today, brief research. Now, I don't think that there was one in white, questionable, but I've chosen to do it in white. Some of the box art, the way it reflects, could be interpreted as white, although I doubt it was actually. It was probably all aluminium. But I'm going to do this one in white, and you can judge the final result, and we can see. The white, of course, makes it look a whole lot more modern than doing it in aged silver, aluminium. And looking at all the photos, the aircraft was pretty dirty. There was no way that an aircraft like this could stay clean, whereas mine is going to be quite on the clean side, especially since it's this gloss white. But anyway, as we go on, we'll see how that develops. The underside, the part that touches water, should be black, and I'll possibly do that black. I'll give it a thought. So anyway, that one is progressing, and then I was having a look at all the parts that still remain, but I'm very happy with the paint result. Oh yes, that's what I wanted to say. Now I don't know if this is going to come through. No, because the light, the way you're catching this, is at the opposite angle from me. Now you'll remember that when I held this up in previous videos, the glue from 3 decades ago had stained the plastic a yellow-orange color. I didn't spray this a grey primer, I just sprayed white, gloss white, onto the plastic, and I needed to cover up that yellow staining, which it sort of did. You can't see any unless you're looking from my side against the light. And you must keep in mind that the glue staining the plastic was not only on some exterior parts where it was sort of more visible to the joint, but also on the interior part, like on the mating surfaces of the wings. Now that shines through still, because the white is not a very hard color, and that's sort of what I wanted to speak about. So I'm going to put this down, and the first part of the discussion is about that solidity of white. If I go back to this one, and I don't know if you actually, I don't know how this is going to show up. Not hugely. This matte white on that grey plastic is a lot more of a solid looking white. It's not a whiter white, it's just a more solid looking white, in that there's no place that any light sort of shines you through, whereas when you look at this Dornier right now, it's almost got a little bit of a glow because there is light actually coming through the plastic, which in some cases is beneficial. It gives you a lot brighter effect. But as I look at these two right here, this is a grey white and this is a bright white. This is almost a yellow white. And the same principle over here, where on the inside I'm able to give that hard effect of the black, but I can't spray there because that's a mating surface. And while I had some grey out yesterday, I just sprayed that. Now you won't really pick this up, but if you were looking from my side against the light, you can still see through the plastic over there, and you can't see through the plastic where it's painted black. Now that, mostly you get away with that in that when you view an aircraft, it's probably not having a strongish light shining through plastic, but on this aircraft it's pretty way more of an issue than on almost all other kits, because this is a transparent plastic. So so that was just a little bit of a trial, but this is going to have to get a satin grey and then a respray of whatever I choose as my exterior color, because you just don't want any light penetration on any of the surfaces, because it changes the effect of that color. So that's the tail horizontal stabilizer there. And this had previously been glued on, so I needed to spray a bit of extra white on the glue mess areas, and when I hold this up to the light I can still see those glue mess areas. The Lockheed Vega sprayed white, and this white is not entirely dry, so I'm going to have to leave this and that alone for a good few days. New Lockheed Vega propeller, made from a Mustang propeller, Mustang or Spitfire, can't remember, with a little bit of an extra front piece added on. So from the front it looks okay. I mean, it's not perfect, but it'll pass, and it'll still get a little bit of weathering. And what is this here? The Ryan monoplane, which I have glued the wing, glued the fuselage, glued the wings in, horizontal stabilizer on. This is the lesser of the two kits that I have, so this is a reasonably quick build. So that's coming along just as a side thing while I'm not wanting to carry on with other parts, while I'm waiting for paint to dry. So there we go. not planned to be done already, but it just is getting done already. And then now let's see if this comes through on the video. The sanding effect to get, so I know visually the light is catching those rivet lines, but I don't know whether you're catching the coloration difference. So you've got grey plastic under the blue and grey plastic under the grey. So if I look at it here, it's just visible grey on grey, and quite visible, or reasonably visible, on the blue side. So this was a light sanding and then a floor wax coating, because I wanted to actually be damaging a little bit of the paint. I wanted to cause wear on the paint. But I didn't realize that this painting that I'd done, especially the blue, grey to a degree as well, was a rather light coat. And so for my bit of talking that I've done in recent videos on the sanding effect to bring out detail, the coloration difference, firstly, grey on grey and blue on grey. So it pays off when you've got greater contrast and acceptable contrast on your colorations. And secondly, the thickness of your paint. So if you've got quite a thin paint, you're going to go through it quite easily. Now you can use that to your effect, to your benefit, as I said, by painting a undercoat color, a second coat color, and then your final color, so that you can at stages go through to your mid color, and possibly even down to your primer coat color, depending on how aged you want to make the thing look. Now this Frog Shackleton has got the worst and highest, thickest, biggest rivets that exist on any kit. And at the moment this is completely, well, when I say completely, it is virtually flat. So I can put decals onto there knowing that they will seat well. And I've got the panel detail coming through in a sort of a subtle way. It would have been nice to have a little bit more visual but it's okay. It's sort of got that feeling of age, but not too much. You should be able to make out the grey coming through, and it gives that blue a bit of an aged effect. And on the grey side, so again, these long decals, which go on fuselage and wings, these long yellow ones, will now be able to go onto there. I've got my effect that I want. The raised rivet detail is not going to cause any problem on my decals now. So that's sort of ready. Keeping in mind that this was a somewhat fast build, there wasn't an intention to go to town, because I did mention to you that this kit is not great. You can do a nice job on the Frog Shackleton, but at its heart, it is a very old and not great quality kit. It does have that nice surface detail, which I've used to my advantage. The Lockheed Vega, and I'll try and cover some of the aspects now. As soon as I started painting, showed up some of my failures to fill well, and it sort of just got me thinking about all the lessons to be learned from this kit. Right from the beginning, when I cut the tail off because I misinterpreted the way that the horizontal stabilizers attach. I mean, right now it is looking not bad at all. I do have a slight join line at the top on the fuselage there. It's okay. It's not the worst. Underside is okay, except in the middle there. There's a blemish over there. Not well filled. But it's okay. So I did good work in fixing the horizontal stabilizers on. The attachment that they've got, where it fits into a rather big slot, but then also has an attachment to the other horizontal stabilizer, was completely wrong. I had to cut them off completely and sand down so that they could both shift further in. Because if you build this straight up out of the box, you are going to have a rear section that really doesn't look good. So this at the moment, it's got a very nice blend there without any filling. And I don't think you would want to be filling there, because you're going to lose the fact that on the real aircraft there really is a step there. It's not quite as, you know, crude as this, but anyway. Now let's actually have a look. If I pull this tape off, okay, so there's the, rather than, I'll just show you that before I pull that off. So I did this sort of crude, just cover all of the windows, one shot effect, and that's the result. So that means those little pillars in between did not get painted. But do you notice anything? Nope, it looks totally fine. You have to look really close to see anything. I won't take the front windscreen off. That's a whole lot more masking, and that's not completely dry. But you know, so sometimes you can get away with a sort of a quick fix masking. Filling and masking are not appealing jobs. Now I was pondering whether I would get an ever so slight overspray, because with the pressure of the airbrush, if there was just the slightest little gap, you might get a hint of overspray, but that hint of overspray could be rubbed off against that window, which is well seated. So all in all, looking very good. I did put those little covers in there so that I don't get paint into the area that I want to glue. That's the tail skid, so that little area is open. So I'm very happy with this. and I will be leaving it at this very, very nice bright white with its decals on. Obviously that the final finish is going to be a little bit off because the decals are aged, but that's okay. So I rushed into understanding on the horizontal stabilizers, did some damage to the kit, but fixed it well enough and actually very happy with the final result there. Windows, remember I spoke about just going with the recessed windows. Well, you know, it is what it is and it looks totally fine, as opposed to all the work that you would be doing with trying to get flush windows. The spraying, oh, I did spray this one with a satin grey because it was very obvious that all of that filler work near the tail planes was not going to be covered well with this gloss white. So the whole aeroplane, and I did post pictures of this on the Facebook page. I can't remember if I posted pics of it while it was light grey. So that satin 129 is a very, very nice colour, sort of halfway between, to me, a filler colour and white. And then I sprayed this the white, and that gives it that nice solidity, and it covered everything. So what I didn't do well was the filling of joint lines, mostly on the underside. I left off the undercarriage struts, which definitely was in my favor because I was able to achieve a very, very nice finish on the rest of the model here. Once it's all dry, that'll glue on very nicely. A lot of work on this canopy, wing and fuselage joint, which I'm almost wondering if that ruined the build for many, many people. But I'm quite looking forward to seeing this finished. Very interesting and not a topic I would have chosen easily. I can't even remember why I chose it in the first place. Oh, and of course the propeller was broken, so I had to remake, and I think that's reasonably acceptable. Oh, that was the other piece. I didn't bring it out here. The cowling, and I wanted to show you that. So when you've got, and I've spoken about this so many times, and then it happened to me on that, when you have two halves of things, two moldings that have been made, depending on the age of the kit and the quality of the kit, and you join it, firstly making sure that you don't get that, as I've spoken about many times, and what I'll be doing with the B1, making sure you don't get any of that or any of that. Having matched that up very nicely and sanded it on this kit, what actually, the way they molded it is, as this comes there, it gives a final little lip due to the way they molded it, which means I sanded it flat, but it now forms a curvature with another slight little bump. So it needed that next level. Not easy to see. I don't know if I have a solution other than to maybe realize that with an old kit like AMT and the quality of AMT, you might need to look at the joints a whole lot more than on other type of kits, which obviously on the fuselage I was paying a lot more attention, which is why you don't see that same thing there. Maybe they made it worse on the cowling. So luckily my fuselage joint is very, very nice, but that cowling is going to have that visible bit of a problem there, but that's okay. I mean, you know, you don't expect a model like this to suddenly be Tamiya quality. I'm rather impressed with the fact that this model has survived me more than 3 decades. This was prior to me ever having airbrush, which means that it goes at least to 1990. And I looked up today, and this is the same molding as the Matchbox, apparently, so maybe just different plastic colors. And a very, very interesting aircraft. Only 3 were ever built. Oh, we'll be able to judge the window effect again on this one once I peel that off. So again, I just used a long strip and covered all the windows one shot. So I'm really keen to do good decal work. The engine area certainly needs to look a bit more realistic, and I won't be doing the engines white, the engine nacelles. I will do them possibly a satin black. Probably would be good to put that black underneath there, and then decide on what very subtle weathering one can do. And then there's of course a lot of parts, a lot of struts which need care on putting in. But I think certainly the engines, all of those engines with the bracing in between, that's the make or break on this. As I mentioned, at least 2 of the propellers are broken, and I saw online that you get 4-blade propellers, 3-blade propellers, and even 2-blade propellers. So I'm assuming that at least one of these was a 3-blade version, and that was, I think, using radial engines. 4-blade version using inline engines, and I don't know if it was only tests with 2-blade props, but a very, very significant yet scarcely manufactured aircraft. Only 1929, 80 years before the Boeing Clipper. This would be very nice in 172. This is 144th, but amazingly we saw there's a 148th kit, which must be huge. So actually looking forward, that's not going to be a quick one. That'll take its time getting done, but this is a whole lot closer. Just need to do the decals very nicely. That wing is a quick fix on. The undercarriage we've already test fitted, and that's a very nice fit. Just need to get alignment right, don't rush it, and that'll be sort of almost finished. This Shackleton has not got tons of work left, but I think I do need to just take care with the fuselage that I do build that well, because while all these surfaces that I've done are very good looking, and I'm ready to do decals on them now, you don't want to go and mess it up by rushing the fuselage. And it will be quite a treat building the Airfix Shackleton after this. Not that I'm planning that right now, but what I mean is you get used to the lower quality of the Frog kit or Model Craft or whoever molded it at stages. That when you get to the good kit, it's actually quite a pleasure to build them. This needs to be over silver, but this stainless steel section is brighter than the rest, so I'm hesitant to do the whole aircraft a bright silver and then this a chrome silver. I'm actually thinking that I'd like to try something with the whole rest of the aircraft in making it, and I don't even know what to call it, a very subtle grey silver. So it must still look like it's been painted silver, even though obviously a lot of this, I don't even know which section, actually all of this except that nose is not metal. It is all canvas covered and was painted silver, so it wouldn't be that bright. But I'm going to try and make a toned down silver so that it's not a bright and shiny silver aeroplane, but the nose section sort of attracts you and the rest is acceptable looking. Not quite sure what I'll do with it. I mean, a silver grey mix is a choice, but silver particle is also a little bit large, the normal Humbrol particle, and I'm not going to go with Alclad for this. Alclad is a little bit bright, so I'm going to have to look for something a little bit interesting. This one did have a stand option, but I'll put this, I'll let it stand on my wheels. Now, honestly, I don't have place to put this anywhere. An aircraft this size, I mean, you know, look at that sort of square area that you'd need to fit this in diagonally into a shelf. And not only that, there's just no shelf area. So all of these just have to hang from the ceiling. That is the only place for all of these aircraft. That is about it for now. So yeah, B1 parts and a bit of decals onto, well, I guess there's those. So that's, if I use this sheet, I won't use those ones because they're a little bit bright and wrong. That's not bad to use. I think I can go with that. And I can do wing decals, so I actually can start doing the decals for this Shackleton. Okay, happy modeling. Till next time.